Hello, this is Javier from Digital of Things. I'm having with me today Aditi from Digital of Things as well, and we're having with us Julia from Creative 971. We're gonna discuss a really interesting topic. We always know how user research goes hand in hand with user experience, but we don't really know how to validate some business ideas or assumptions. I think Aditi, you can help us on that.
Great. I really like this topic. It's very close to my heart. I want to bring a few things, like just to set the context for us, especially when we are working in this region where we have a melting pot of cultures. It's very important for us to know who exactly is our user. The moment you know who your user is, it is better for business as well as for us designers to create what they need. So there are two kinds of research that come in play to support UX, to create a UX that has user centricity in true sense. Otherwise, and this is an old article, but they say UX minus U is nothing, which is if you take the user out of user experience, there's nothing left, right? So user is very critical. So one part of research that we do is sometimes to validate business ideas or propositions and see if the concept is worth it. This is more exploratory. It's mostly done at the beginning of a concept when things are still on the drawing board. Sometimes when the business comes to us, they've already formalized a lot of things or they have an existing product in place. That's when we do validation. We go ahead, bring some users to our lab, ask them to explore, do some of their key tasks using that website or that app, and we observe what's going wrong or right. Are they able to complete their the whole task that they had at hand? Now that gives us a different kind of feedback. So more or less the two kinds of research that we try to conduct, again to help business achieve their business goals by enhancing the user experience instead of letting go of UX and only focusing on the business goals. So yeah, it's really critical to go hand in hand, critical to understand the users in the region. When I was talking about this understanding the concept and lab-based, there are many other technology or many other ways that we can do it as well. Sometimes we don't need to spend a lot of money, bring people to the lab and do it. Our clients come to us saying they have a lot of data from the analytics, and we can just look at it and start seeing the kind of behavior users have. We can talk about which browser they went on to, or what were they able to complete the task on mobile better than desktop, and so on and so forth. So we try to do that as well. Although I do see that as a problem, again with I just don't want to offend anyone, but we do get often data that's not very rich. Either the events haven't been tagged properly or we are not able to make much sense out of it. So I think that's an opportunity. If they give us, we'll be able to do much more with it.
True, being in that role, I've been working in performance marketing for the past 3 years, and one of the main struggles that we had was the tagging and how clean the data is. At some point, we always found data that we could not match it in the right way, and this was something that came across. Is it the same in the e-commerce field? Because I was working in aviation industry, so how do you see see the same?
Very valid point, and I actually like that because it highlights something that a lot of businesses or e-commerce businesses, when they come to us, they forget. They're like, yeah, we can do it later on, let's get online first. But you're actually using data-driven, experience or understanding from an actual customer. And I think even Gary Vee said it, you have to go where your users are, but to understand where your users are, you need some metrics, you need some tools, and unfortunately or fortunately, as a retail business, once you're offline, you're not necessarily, having the best tools to do that, because, asking everyone in the store would be really awkward. You'd be like,
of course.
But on a website, when you put like a Google Analytics, a Facebook Pixel, Snapchat Pixel, like this type of tracking tools that are there and that can implement and read and provide accurate data, obviously of which country the users come from, what are the differences in let's say even user behavior from let's say Al Barsha to Jumeirah. There might be user behaviors by nationality, that because we're so much rich in different cultures here, so it's just different aspects to look at that you would know as well from performance marketing, that you have to look at every different angle. And I think that's one of the big parts when it comes to e-commerce, that data is king, and I think that's coming back to, I think we had it in one of the other videos with Aditi as well, that Amazon as an example, they built their entire company on purely data-driven decisions, and look where they are today.
Indeed, it's going on in that direction. One common thing that we have seen is the consumer behavior is becoming more demanding, it's becoming less flexible. People would want their things more like yesterday already done.
That's our clients.
What do you have to say about that?
Okay, we have to understand something. We've progressed a lot. Things are digital. People are on Instagram, Snapchat all the time, so they know what's happening everywhere. People traveled. I think let's talk about pre-pandemic. People traveled a lot. Dubai, especially. I mean, I don't know what time of the day the airports are less crowded. People travel, they're well exposed, and again bringing back to the fact that it is an expat primary kind of country, people come from all parts of the world, and a lot of those people are also coming from very technically advanced countries. When I say that, I don't necessarily mean that everybody is like going to the Mars, but what I mean is they might have websites and apps to do everything. The processes have been streamlined, and so think about a British person in the UAE being asked to do something on a local supermarket website which takes them 10 to 12 minutes, when they know that back home they could have done it on Tesco in 2 minutes or less, right? So it's very difficult for these people to keep their expectation low. In terms of flexibility, it's actually the business that has made the situation. There is so much competition. You don't like this, you take this. You don't like this, you go to the other app. People can switch loyalties within minutes. I think the only thing that keeps users loyal is either the experience or the fact that they've already invested so much and collected data. So I was talking to some users last year when they're very happy with a particular food delivery app. They know that the other app is offering them better experience, but now that they've used the other one and it has a lot of data about them, they know what kind of restaurants they like. They're like, okay, now I can't restart my experience with something. So there has to be a reason to stick, which is very few. So flexibility, yes. I mean, they have options which business has given, which means they want to jump off. Exposure has made them smarter, brighter, or they're not anymore those naive, coy users who just give them anything online and they're like, wow, look, I can shop online. So yeah.
I have something actually to jump in. It's a very valid point, because customer loyalty and customer retention here in the UAE is much harder than anywhere else, I think, in the world. Why? It's not only because of people changing and transitioning. I think even still people are maybe not that much traveling, but still like shifting and moving, and maybe you have a loyal customer that then moves abroad again another 2 years later or something, but customer retention and loyalty goes into implementing more and more loyalty programs for them, like providing benefits. And I know that sometimes even if I order food, that's a good example for, like, I would order from the actual app of the restaurant, and they would provide me with not only cheaper prices, but they would probably give me a quicker service, loyalty. They wouldn't know me. They would say, oh, Julia, today we have peanut butter, whatever, I don't know, ball for you, and bring that. And honestly, I love that. Like, even you will have that small thing, and it makes such a difference. Or I think Emar has done a perfect job with, combining the U by Emar points. I'm not advocating it at all, but I'm saying, like, for me, it makes a difference if I book a cinema experience and I have a popcorn and a soft drink for free, compared to any other experience where I still would pay money. But, even that little popcorn or that little protein ball or whatever it is, it just makes a difference because it touches me as a human again. And here we are again, I think, in one of the communications we had, that where do you have that human element? So this would be one, like the relation and making the connection. It is digital or offline, through the digital or back-end systems or loyalty systems and data, but in the end we decide with our heart most of the times, or with our gut feeling or whatever it is, right?
True, it has to be all integrated, seamless experience. It can't just be purely online or offline.
Actually, to add to that loyalty, I know I'm hijacking your conversation a bit, but I just want to bring to the reason that people appreciate loyalty programs is that they're getting immediate or instant gratification. The moment you have a long-term standing program where you earn to burn a little, are not appreciated, and we've repeatedly seen it in so much research here. that people want something now. You give them 10 dirhams off now, they're happy to take that rather than accumulate and get 100 dirhams in 6 months time. So I guess some
I totally vouch for that. Like, I can be your next user tester. Honestly, this is exactly what I've seen with not only the cinemas but also the food, you know, industry going in that direction. And yeah, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, that's the reason that I think someone has to do the research to understand what program works well. And it's again that UX would be improved or CX would improve purely by knowing your users. If you don't, people come out with these loyalty programs forever and then they come back to us, and we've done that as well. Why are people not coming? Why are not people joining this program? The problem is you created a program without knowing your users, without knowing their temperament. These millennials, they're not going to wait forever to make 100 dirhams and, you know, get some discount.
Or not to be flexible, like what we've seen some of the loyalty programs here in the UAE, and they're not maybe made programs from here but from the UK that we can adapt for Shopify. When you're at the checkout, you can actually plug and play, you know, you can pull how many points you want to redeem rather than just saying, okay, you have to redeem 50 points or you have to redeem 100, even though you don't have the order volume to make the count, so you can actually choose how much you want to. So the more, not customized, but the more personalized you can, you know, be carefully selecting your redemption, because I might be the one looking for that protein ball, you know, but someone else will be like, oh no, let's just, you know, accumulate a few more benefits along the way. So I think here it's the more, you know, like different tiers or different levels you can allow a user, that makes a big difference. Or a buy now, pay later, right? How much we've seen on that. It has changed tremendously the way of shopping, like, you know, having like installment-based payments for users.
Again, a brilliant topic there. That we've got clients and we've done a lot of research in this area, and we realize that people love the concept where they don't have to spend immediately, and because of which their spending power has increased tremendously. So there is what you see, there's so much consumerism, unfortunately I'm using that word, but that's happening. Things that you couldn't have afforded, you're now buying and you're paying in installments. So yeah.
But again, it raises another question in my mind. What is the time span that the study that you do or the research is valid? Because time is moving so fast, things are, it's very dynamic. The market is evolving as things are evolving in a very rapid manner. What would you say the time would be for a research study to be valid? Like, how frequently would you recommend for a business or an entity to revisit and do another study and validate?
It's a very tricky question to answer, because there is no there's no thumb rule. I cannot say that do it every 1 month. It's not like that easy to say. It depends on the concept. It depends on what you're validating. So anybody who's doing design in-house, they usually validate with us every time they create a new version. They change some features substantially and they would like to test it. In terms of a concept, at the end of the day, if you're doing, let's say, loyalty programs, now pandemic brought a massive shift. There is, like, the whole society changed a lot, right? So if there are research that was done, let's say, pre-pandemic for e-commerce, and if we tried to rely on them, I think we would have failed miserably, because people were still going to the malls. People wanted to, I heard all the things like, oh, I would only buy heavy grocery online because then someone can deliver. Clothes, I'll go there, and shoes, I'll go there. And the moment this whole situation changed, now when we do research, we hear absolutely different things. I know I would have loved to try it, but I can't. So I have started using so-and-so website. I've started going to so-and-so app. So imagine if we relied on data, you know, so it all depends on a milestone for the society. It could have been pandemic when it came to e-commerce. It could be change of technology. Now that 5G is coming, again, it's high time. If we were basing anything on data that was with the previous network, we can always start seeing a shift, and we should test again. So I would say no, you know, I don't have a date or time to give you, but as often as we feel, or when we feel the decisions that we've taken could be risky. Like, I'm basing something on a fact that may have changed. So I think that's where I think people come to us and we say, no, you don't need to test right now, maybe collect a little more assumptions. Sometimes we say, you know what, we need to urgently validate this. So I guess that's where the researchers come in play.
I think a good point is as well, or that question is very valid that you said, but I think also, as Aditi mentioned, the like how we do it, for example, from a marketing side, you know, we would revisit anyways monthly. We have reporting tools, sometimes weekly, sometimes every 2 weeks, but things that worked in the pandemic, we would have never thought, even with our years
True.
of experience, would have never thought that this would actually work.
True.
But we gave it a try, you know, with a small amount of spend, and we said, okay, let's just test it. And that data sees, you know, what worked out better, and then we replicate that on a larger scale. But that's also showing trends and direction. And I think even now, for example, Shopify brought out a future of commerce report for 2021. Like they're saying, now people have spent a lot of time indoors, they've ordered, you know, confidence, and the vaccinations are coming out, people are getting more, let's say...
daring?
Yes, this is the right word. Thank you for completing my sentence. But the point as well here is, you know, anything in the future will be more... let's say will probably change again, because as you're not as conscious, you know, you get back to normality, you understand, you know, it's not like even I, you know, like it's a bit of a fun example. Like when we had the lockdown, I literally was scared to leave home. You know, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get sick. You know, just to dump the trash in the chute, and I was probably like washing my hands for 3 minutes after that. But now, you know, you're going to the mall, for example, you're doing your things, you know, of course you're taking precautions and you're being careful, and that's exactly how it should be. But comparing to when we started, at the amount of pressure and, you know, the amount of awareness we got flooded with, it kind of still, you know, drips down up to any single small behavior. Is it, you know, like scratching my face? I will be like thinking 5 times if I would touch my face now, for example.
True. Yeah. I think I will carry on with questions on this topic. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to stop myself. If you have any more questions, or you have any kind of comments you'd like us to tap into, feel free to leave a comment for us. Thank you.